Welcome all. I'm behind the lens today. We've got Cameron Banfield with us today. I'm going to ask him about his story. Welcome, Cam.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thanks for coming in. We've also got Zach in the background as well. He might pop in and ask a question. We'll see how he goes. Firstly, Cam, how old are you? Where are you from?
Good.
Yeah, you good?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, I feel like I'm in True Lies and I'm Mrs. Pascal getting asked the questions in the room, except I can see you're not behind glass.
Yeah, I'm not behind. Actually, for next time, I should get some glass and put a microphone in and make it real creepy.
Yeah, I've got to throw the chair and stuff there.
Just tell me a little bit about yourself, age, family, what you do for work, stuff like that.
Yeah, well, I'm 35 years old. I am an electrical linesman. I work on the power lines. And yeah, I've got a wife and 2 kids who are 11 and 9. And yeah, that's about it.
That's you.
That's me.
That's you. Sounds great. So we have got you in for a reason to talk. And I guess where I want to start today is I want you to explain to those watching who and how you would describe the version of Cam from 24 months ago.
Yep. It's tough because I've never really put it out there. I've always sort of kept to myself, but I'm willing to give it a go. But yeah, pretty much my whole life, on and off, I've had fought with high anxiety, which would sort of lead into depression. And so yeah, 18 months, 2 years ago, I was probably very uptight, nervous, just very, as we call it, spaghetti brain.
Yep.
I get pretty wound up in my head and couldn't think straight and didn't really know how to deal with it. I've seen professionals, counsellors, mainly psychologists, on and off over the years, and medications, which for me, like it does work for some people, and there is a place for psychology and medications and things like that. But for me, it didn't really help the core problems. It was more a band-aid solution. So yeah, it would get you out of a pickle for a bit, but you'd end up back in the same spot as you were beforehand. So I was on a search probably around about 12 months ago to find something that would help me and be more sustainable, because those things weren't working. So I sort of just put it out there and didn't give up, and yeah, about 12 months ago, the story is I met Nick from MyndFit and haven't looked back.
This is a good. How did you meet Nick? Because this is a good story.
It was a good story. So I pretty much, like some people with their mental health who don't really know what direction to go down and have done all the things that you think you're supposed to do, I've basically sort of given up. And then in 2016, I bought a drum kit just on a whim, sort of impulse buy, which isn't really me, but I was sort of at a point in 2016 where I was like, I don't care anymore. I went out and bought heaps of shit, did heaps of crap just out there, didn't care anymore. I bought this drum kit, and beautiful drum kit, by the way. It's lovely.
It is, I've seen that.
Yeah, and then at the start of, it was end of 2019, I decided, like, I was starting to get better. Like, I was definitely on the right path. I was seeing a psychologist that started me on the right path, which was, I'm really grateful of that. And then I decided I wanted to get rid of a few things, especially from like that era of 2016, and stuff that I didn't want to be attached to anymore. So I decided to put that drum kit on Marketplace for sale, and I'd never done Marketplace before. It was kind of a bit skeptical. When it was on there for a few months, I'd had people saying, low ballers wanting to buy it for pretty much nothing. And then I had people asking if I'd do payment plans and stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, the plan is you come and buy it and give me the money and then you go. And then got to the start of 2020, I got a message from a bloke named Nick Sutherland, and he wanted to come look at the drum kit. And I'm like, oh, here we go. Hopefully this guy's alright. I haven't had much good experience with the people. And he seemed really cruisy, so I'm like, yep, come round. And I saw we had a mutual friend, and I asked her, is this guy alright to come over to my house? Like, some stranger's coming to my house to look at the drum kit, and she assured me that he's totally cool and she would really trust him. So, and he came over to the house, and yeah, heaps of coincidences happened. Like, I got a Datsun in the garage where the drum kit was, and he said, oh, I used to drive a Datsun. And so we got talking, and I asked him what he did, and then we got talking about, he said that he's a mental health practitioner, and we got talking about that, and we ended up chatting for like an hour or so in my garage, and he bought the drum kit, so that was good. I took his card and with every intention to make an appointment for the discovery session, and as you do in that state of mind, you sort of procrastinate, and then COVID hit. I'm like, oh, surely he's not working. And anyway, it got around to June, and I kept talking to my wife Danny how I'm still going to go see that guy. It sounds, because after I spoke to Nick, I felt very energised, and I felt like someone that was on the same level and understood what I was saying. And she booked in a discovery session for a surprise for my birthday, and I did that and haven't looked back. I did a 12-week course after that.
You've stolen my next question.
Oh.
Well, why do you think you were so hesitant to reach out and book in that discovery session? Because COVID is just an excuse. You would jump into a conclusion that it wasn't working.
Totally, yep, totally jump into a conclusion. So it was more, I suppose, predicting the future. I've done this before with other therapists. It leads to nowhere. There's no point. But I did have a gut feeling that this was going to be different and actually help and sound like, because I read up on his website, and I'm like, yep, I'm definitely doing this, and then sort of just put it on the back burner, and life gets in the way, and it was all excuses. So I've no doubt that I would have made that appointment, but good on you, Danny.
Sometimes we need that push along.
Sometimes you do, yeah, because when you're feeling low, you can't be bothered doing anything.
Yeah, and as you just kind of mentioned, there was fear or anxiety around trying something again and not getting to where you want to go. And we'll probably mention that a little bit as we go on. You started with a 6-week with him. You knew that, and then you converted to the 12 weeks.
Yeah.
A lot of people come in here and start with 6 weeks for all kinds of reasons. Do you remember your reasoning for going to 6 weeks, why you converted to 12, and any advice for people that may just go to 6 weeks? Because a lot of people can be scared of the commitment. Yeah,
totally. Well, with that, it was exactly that for me, because I didn't commit to a 12-week thing straight away because I had no idea what I was in for. For all I knew, the discovery session was it, and I'd be fine. I'm fixed. Yay! It's that easy.
How good's that?
Yeah,
I've done that a few times in my past as well.
Yeah, exactly. But after doing the discovery session, like, I took it all in. Like, I went home that night. I printed up everything that Nick wrote out on the whiteboard. I printed it all up and stuck it on my desk in the study. I'm like, I cannot forget this. Like, this is something that I want to really pursue. So that's when I decided to look, I'll do the 6 weeks because, hey, maybe after the 6 weeks, I'm fixed. Or I might not need more than 6 weeks. So I'm very, I suppose, sort of conservative, and I thought I'd just, go with the flow and see what happens, because Nick said at the end of the 6 weeks, if you want to continue, you can continue into the 12 weeks. So I got to the end of the 6 weeks, and I got close to the end, and I'm like, I think I'm really getting this. Like, I'm really using these tools that I'm learning, and it's really helping. But I don't know if I need to continue on. And then you get to like the 5th or 6th one, and you go, oh yeah, I do need to learn a little bit more. I need help practicing this, and so that's why I signed up again for the full 12 weeks. And now I'm doing a maintenance program because I know how easy it is to go backwards and slip back into your old habits. So yeah, I'm in for the long haul because yeah, it's very important.
It is. And lastly on that, I guess, point about 6 weeks, it's funny, we have a lot of people do 6 weeks, same thing. It's like, I'll be right in 6 weeks, or that's all I need to learn. As you said, that's the learning part. Then you need to start implementing it in your life, so week to week, and then you come in and you either get told, okay, this is how you can improve that, or you're doing that great, keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
And it's, I find, I don't think there's anyone that hasn't converted from the 6 into the 12 since I've been here.
Okay.
in 12
Yeah.
months. Like, that's just the way it is. So I think it's really important what you just said then, because a lot of people do jump in the 6 weeks, but it really isn't enough time.
Yeah, you think at one point, I'm gonna be okay, like it's fine, but it's like anything. They say, like, from when you're born to when you're 7 years old, you can learn anything. You're a sponge. Anything after 7 years old, it's repetition. So obviously when you leave these sessions, you're out there, you've got to put in the work. You can't just come in every week and do your repetitions there or whatever. You have to go out and do it. So if you're out on your own, it's sort of, like I said, easy to slip back, but I think the more you get the professional help, then you're right to go out on your own and have it sort of not embedded in your head, but just thinking different and using all those tools that you learn.
You used the word fixed and in there, and that in terms means you're broken in the past. And I think I'm going to ask this question and hope the answer's sort of where I want it to be, but do you look back now and say you were broken, or you were just having ups and downs?
Ups and downs, probably more lost than anything, because the things that you're doing to try and help yourself, you think you're doing what you're doing is healthy, but it might not necessarily. Doing this, you have healthy ways of going about bettering your mental health, if that makes sense.
It does, yeah. It does, and because it's very common, and I know myself and probably Zach as well, we thought we were broken.
Yeah.
And it's not uncommon for someone to say, I'm broken, I need to be fixed. They might say I'm broken, but they'll say I need to be fixed, and that's referring to, but here, as human beings, we're not broken.
No.
We can break things, but we're not broken.
Yeah.
So I think it's very important that we just had that little discussion for people out there, because they're not broken. It's not good or bad where they're situated right now. It's just where they are, and they're doing the best they can, as were you 12 months ago.
Exactly right. Like, we had my wife, a couple of months ago, one of our very close friends passed away unexpectedly at 35 years old, and so we're going through that, and my wife texted me one day, and she's like, said something along the lines of, thank you so much for being so supportive and, you know, helping keep everything together at the moment. I feel like I wouldn't have been as with it before using these sort of tools. And I just said, I've always tried my best. It just happens to be that my best is a little bit better now.
Yeah.
You know? So, yeah, you always try your best. But, yeah, learning all this stuff, it definitely helps.
It's a really, really good point. It always gave me tingles when you said that, because every single person tries their best every day. And it doesn't mean they're worse or better than anyone else. They're doing their best, but each day is an opportunity to increase knowledge, increase competence, become more clear, all of that kind of thing. So it doesn't mean yesterday was worse. It just means you did your best, and now we're going to keep improving. And I think that's what you've done right throughout. I think you've definitely had ups and downs through the whole last 12 months and the whole 35 years of your life, but each day you've been aware that you've done your best.
Yeah.
And Posty just created a ruckus.
Just leave that there, mate.
What are the three things, if you could only name three, what are the three things you took away and did which helped you? So 3 tools or tips or whatever that you can think of now.
Learning how to be present, aware as often as possible.
And before we go on, how hard is that to do? How challenging is that to do?
Every day it's challenging. It's pretty challenging because there's so much, as we call it, stimulus out there. You know, busy lives, work, everything. It's very hard. So like I'm putting little things in place to make sure I am more present, more aware of what's going on around me, because just on that, I've got a new app on my phone called Chime, which I was telling Nick about. I'm like, what can I do to be more present? Because you can go a few hours and all of a sudden you're like, just life's happening and you just can feel yourself tensed up, like not actually like this, but you're just tense and not being present. And if you're doing that the whole day, it stuffs you. And then you project that over your whole life, then it's not a good ripple effect. So I set a little chime on my phone. Or at the start I was like, every time I look at the clock, I'm going to take a moment to just be aware and be present, just check in with myself, have a breath. You don't just go sit in the corner for half an hour and go, yeah, I'm all good, you know. Just take a moment, take a breath, and just whatever you're holding on to, just let go. And that was working, and then I got that app on my phone that it will ding every hour, and now I do every 15 minutes, where you don't always hear it, but just to take that moment. And you know, I got the family involved, the wife and kids, when they hear it, because at the start they're like, we go ding. It's quite funny, but you know, we're playing with it and making them more aware of it.
I think, and touching on that, I think that's so important with kids, is you actually have fun with it.
Yeah.
Because they can see it as a chore, but if you make fun of it a little bit, because later on, at that young age, they don't see the benefits or think about the benefits, but as they start to mature, they'll look back and they go, oh, I can see why we were doing that. And in this moment, if they do it from the ages of 8 to 15 daily, at 17, 18, when things start to happen in life, which they tend to do at that age, they'll be able to go, oh, remember how we always did this breath thing with Dad that made us laugh and light? Oh, let's do that and see what happens. So giving them a skill, but early on you're just having fun with it.
Exactly.
And I guess it's like anything, you know, kids learn shapes by putting the shapes into a container that has the same shape hole.
Yeah.
So it's fun for them. It's not, here's a square, look at the square, that's a square. That's boring for them. So you've got to play with it with the kids, and I think that's really important, because I wouldn't just go to a kid, let's meditate.
No,
they're going to struggle with that. Let's have fun. Let's just sit here and be silent for 10 minutes. Let's see who can go the longest.
Yeah.
Much better way to actually do it because it's a competition, it's a challenge for them.
Exactly. And it was really beneficial last year, like watching my son especially loves football, loves the Saints, and the Saints have taken on meditation and breathing and things like that. So to see a whole football team huddled around together right before they're about to play and do a breathing exercise to ready themselves, you wouldn't have seen that 20 years ago or whatever. Like, there's no way you would have seen that. And so it just puts it out there to kids like it's normal. Like, there's nothing wrong with trying to be present and just checking in with yourself. And so that's probably the second thing I've taken away is it's definitely helped with my parenting, even though, like I said, I've always tried my best. But if there was a problem or something that a challenge that you've come up against, I'd be instantly in the past. I might have instantly been, okay, like, this is what you got to do. If this happens, you know, just do this and do that, and the kids would listen, but they don't take it in like that. Kids don't learn. So what I've learned from this is to just, like, I've always listened to them, but I listen to them, listen to what they say, and offer a story about myself, how I would deal with that situation. If they take from that, then that's great. If they don't, hopefully maybe they come back to it later on in life. And I think that's helped heaps with the kids.
Kids are, what we find, kids are one of the biggest stimuluses you'll get because they do things you don't want them to do. So you have this expectation that they should be this and should be that, when realistically they're just kids. So we need to change the way we react. We need to respond. We need to observe the situation because they are just kids. It's not to say let them do whatever they want, but you've got to try and work on their level.
Exactly.
Ultimately.
Yeah, exactly, and at their pace as well. Like, so many times you see people pulling their kids along and saying hurry up and stuff like this. Just, they've got to be at their own pace, which sometimes it's hard. Also, for me, it was seeing them in suffering. So if they're genuinely suffering about something, I felt like, okay, I'm their dad, it's my job to fix it. But that's just not how it works. Because my mind would go off and go, great, the kids are going to go through life with anxiety, depression, they're going to go down a dark hole like I would have, you know, but that's just not reality. So all I can do is take a step back and observe it, let them go through their thing and offer stories or any help that I can.
Or just be there.
Just be there, yeah. And listen, because they're going to be irrational, they're kids.
Yeah, exactly. They aren't rational by nature. That's just what kids are.
Yeah, exactly.
And third sort of tip or tool you use?
Well, I did the online meditations through COVID with you guys, and I've been dabbling in meditation for the last few years, probably 3 years, and like anyone, you don't really know what you're doing at the start. You're sort of doing it on your own. I wasn't comfortable going out and seeking advice. I was all, you know, YouTube, internet, whatever. And then my wife went on a yoga retreat to Bali a couple of years ago, and she came back and did a lot of meditation there, and we sat down and did one together, and she's like, this is what I learned, and this is what I did. And that sort of gave me a little bit of structure of what to do. And so I would do meditation sort of reactively. In the afternoon, I was, you know, you had a busy day at work, you had a busy day with the kids' sports or dancing or whatever, and you come home and the day's finished and it's like time to meditate and relax, and you just, and it's great. It's awesome. But fast forwarding to doing the meditations with Nick, where it was guided and I had a bit more professional guidance, I learned that, because he was doing them at 6 in the morning, so I start work at 7 and the meditations go for 40 minutes. So I would drive to work early, sit in a car park around the corner and log on to the meditation and do it. So I did that for a couple of months and absolutely loved it. Really took a lot out of it and realised that doing the meditation proactively in the morning, it grounds yourself, and throughout the whole day I just felt lighter. That's what I really got out of it. And in one of my first sessions with Nick, one of the sentences I said, I effing hate mornings. I hated mornings, hated getting up, because I realised when I'd get up in the morning, everything would flood my brain. Everything. You got to do this today, you got to do that. What if this happens today? What if that happens? Oh, what if this? What if that? Kind of thing. And when you feel like that, as soon as you wake up, like, it was intense. The first thing I'd do was go, snooze, I don't want to deal with that today. Even though most of that crap running through your head is probably not going to happen. And if it does, you deal with it and it's probably going to be okay. So to realise that, so to go from that, where I'd snooze, get up, not have breakfast, quickly get dressed, go to work, to I get up at 5 in the morning now, I do the meditations at home in my own space, not guided, just music, headphones on. I get up, sit in my spot and meditate for half an hour, 40 minutes, where it sounds pretty funny, but I can't tell you how beneficial it is for me. And then I'll get up, slowly have breakfast, have a cup of tea.
So I'm trying to reframe, not slowly, mindfully.
Mindfully. Yep, mindfully get up, really enjoy breakfast, really enjoy that time. The kids start getting up, we have a little chat, pack my lunch and go to work. So much different to hitting snooze, getting up, quickly going to work, or doing your whole day, like on the weekend, doing the kids' sports and stuff like that. So you're more present and aware of what the hell's going on around you when you start your day like that. So that's definitely a huge thing that I've taken from this.
Last time you came in, you were up to 90 days meditating in a row. Is that still going?
Still going, yeah.
How many days is it now?
101 today, and that's just from when I've done that app.
Yeah.
So before that, I was doing a few months with you guys, and before that, I was doing it, as I call, reactively.
Yeah.
After at the end of the day, for probably a few months or a few years, on and off. Yeah.
And this is the question from my experience, because I was the same. I meditate at night. I found that easier to unwind. This could be different for you, but the reason you didn't do it in the morning because it was the most challenging time to do it to start with. Like, it was.
Yeah, definitely.
So in other words, discomfort precedes success.
It's a great motto, isn't it?
It's a good motto.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
And that, because it would have been hard, challenging those first few sessions, probably the first 30, really.
It was, but I knew I had to change.
Yeah.
I knew I had to change something about it, and now Nick will teach you about the 5 steps to change. So even having that in your mind, you're like, oh, yeah, I can do this.
So it's actually a bit of a point segue, because I was going to speak about that. There is the 5 steps to change, and I guess I want to praise you, because a lot of people come in the doors here, but not everyone, I guess, is successful in their goals to find what they think they want to find, which is usually completely what they don't find, and they find this contentness. So most people come into the doors to look for external happiness, where it's this is about being internally happy and content with who you are, and the rest is a bonus. And you can come in with awareness, acceptance and motivation, but and Nick can only give the tools and the knowledge. No one in the world can give anything but tools and knowledge.
Yeah, exactly.
But you've taken this away and you've practiced it yourself, and that's why you're successful. Do you agree?
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
So now I have the capacity to do it, obviously. So it's all good and well. Like, I've listened to a lot of self-help books over the years, a lot of podcasts, and it's great to learn everything, but it means nothing if you can't go out there and do it yourself. And for me, I had no choice. I gave myself no choice. This is happening. I'm doing this as best I can.
That's great. I guess just to finish on, is there any tips for others that may be battling like you were, as they watch this and think they can't get help, or this is just the best it's ever going to get? What's your advice to them?
My advice to them is, you're doing all right. You're doing better than what you think. And just keep chipping away at it. There's no one thing that someone can do to be all good, all fixed. I think, one of the biggest things I've learned is just keep chipping away at it. It's not, I speak about it with my mate from work. It's the Netflix mentality a lot of people have these days, where they call it the Netflix mentality, where you get everything straight away. Like when we were kids, we'd wait till next week to watch an episode, but now it's like we can watch this whole season straight away. We get it straight away, and we're sort of conditioned to that. So when we don't get what we want straight away, it can cause a lot of suffering. So you just have to chip away at it. And like, imagine if I didn't have that conversation with Nick. Like, I was open to it. So that's probably another thing. You've got to be open to it, open to anything, because who knows? Who knows where it may lead you?
I heard a really good quote yesterday. I was listening to a podcast, Dylan Buckley, and he had Dylan Alcott on there, and he's got his own rule: do everything twice. Don't do it once, do it twice.
Yeah.
So try it twice, and then if it isn't for you, find something else. Don't give up. And I think that's really important, because I think a lot of people do things once.
Yeah.
And don't ever try it again.
Exactly, that's so true. And also, on the other end of the scale, people will find coping mechanisms which work, and they're great. Like alcohol and Valium works awesome. Is it healthy? No way. It's not healthy at all. So you got to question: is this healthy? Am I sticking at this because it's working? But it's what are the long-term effects here?
Is it healthy and sustainable? Really?
Exactly.
And
yes.
It's a really good point, because yes, alcohol or any coping mechanism can be really short-term beneficial, but what's the effect on your relationship with partner, friends, family,
exactly,
sport, whatever it is, work, all of that stuff? If it's costing, then it's not healthy nor sustainable.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you need to find other options.
Yeah, that's it. There are other tools out there that are much more healthy.
How would you describe what you're learning here in maybe a sentence?
In a sentence? I would have prepared for that one. Off the top of my head, a sentence. I suppose for me, if I was to make it completely about me, I come away feeling energised. Is probably because I'd be so deflated.
Relatable
in the past.
What you're learning.
Oh, the stuff from here, definitely relatable. Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, honestly, I think if even if you don't think you struggle, or you might need a little bit of help, or you are right down a dark hole, I think this is for anyone, because there's always something that you can work on.
Or learn.
Exactly, yeah.
And in saying, I was just reminded, like I had a client at the end of last year who did 6 weeks who had nothing going on.
Yeah.
He just wants to learn stuff, because he goes, I'd prefer to learn this now, so if something does happen in life where I start to feel, like I'm going down a poor path, I've got the skills ready to go.
Yeah.
And he can help his friends and family. And it was just like, mate, it's hard to actually, because you don't have that many people that want to do it like that, it's actually quite a challenge to teach. Because it's really easy when you've got a person in front of you that's got a lot going on, because you can break it down for them and help them through it. But when you're purely teaching, it can be challenging because you don't do it in this field. It's all working with worst case scenario type stuff.
Yeah.
But it can be extremely powerful, as you said, for anyone.
Oh, definitely.
Is there any other bits of advice or tips or anything you want to share before we finish this up?
Just like I said before, there's not just one thing out there. It's a bunch of little things that you've got to maybe try and put in place, and just give a go and keep an open mind. And it's just having that awareness, checking in with yourself, not letting yourself go. That's how you can get down some dark holes. And be open to meditation as well, because I was kind of skeptical years ago. I'm like, well, what am I going to get out of this? What's it going to do for me?
It's going to take up my time.
The thing that got me through was, people have been doing it for thousands of years. There's got to be something behind it. So I just kept an open mind, and I can't tell you how much better I feel for it now. I mean, if anyone that knows me is going to watch this, they'll have no idea about any of this stuff. I feel like I might have put on a good mask, a good face, but be interesting to see what people think, I guess.
And if people do have any comments, questions, they can send them through to admin@myndfit.com.au, and I'll pass them on to Cameron or the team here.
More than happy to answer any questions for sure.
So now we'll just finish on what this version of Cam is like. You are in a 3 monthly maintenance program now, so you're seeing Nick every 3 months, which is quite a big change, but you felt you were doing a lot of the things right, and Nick agreed you actually were putting everything into practice at home, which is, as we mentioned before, you did the work, you got the tools, you got the knowledge, you embodied it, and it allowed you to go 3 months, and you had the option to go to 1 month if you changed your mind. But how do you see yourself now as a person?
Oh, definitely a lot more relaxed, a lot less spaghetti brain, more present with the family and friends, just more aware of the things you're doing. Like, you'll do things out of habit that clearly don't serve you anymore, so you can literally just strip away all the crap and all other people's crap too that I would previously take on. Like, I was very, very good at observing other people, but from this I've learnt I hadn't observed myself. So
you were handing out the key to your happiness to other people.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, but no one would know, because it was just all internal. Like, some people were external, like angry, this, that, blaming. I would put it all internal. It's all my fault. And as we know, that's not healthy.
No, it's not. Thanks for sharing all of that.
No worries. I hope someone gets something out of it.
Well, yeah, as I said, if anyone wants to send an email through, it'd be great. Thanks, Cam. Thanks to the viewers for watching, and we'll tune in because we'll get another one of these up in the next couple of months, maybe with Rosie.
Cool.